Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Sharif. Just wanted to shoot a quick video for you guys to pretty much share the story about how I actually got into network marketing. And it's kind of crazy. I didn't want to write it out. I felt like it would flow a lot easier. And it was just one of those stories that someone needed to speak to you to tell you the story rather than you reading it. So I'm in my dorm. It's like 2004. Okay, I'm a senior in college. I'm wrapping up my last year in school. I went to college for communication arts. All right. It was a very broad it was a very broad major, but I liked people. I was very sociable in school. I liked connecting with people. I enjoyed, you know, learning how to communicate with different groups of people. And I took a couple of psychology classes, I took a couple of philosophy classes, so it was a very I mean, it wasn't anything uh it wasn't like a major like finance or a major like physics where you're working inside of uh a very narrow range of topics, a very specialized uh range of topics. I was kind of all over the place, but I knew I wanted to work with people. I really enjoy connecting with people, and that's what I went to school for. So it's 2004, and I'm sitting in my dorm room, and I'm like, well, I don't really know what I can do with this degree that I'm about to get, but I do want to work with people. And at the same time, I don't really want to work. I don't like the whole 20-year plan, this is what was instilled in me. I was told go to college, get a good degree, graduate, get a good job, work 20 years, and then retire when you're 40. Retire in your 40s. And that to me just seemed like it's kind of long. It's like kind of long. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna figure something else out. So I'm sitting at my desk and I'm surfing the web just to get an idea of different jobs that I can do. And I come across a link to a website, and the website was for people that may have had an interest in working from home. And on that website was a survey, and I filled out the survey and I submitted it. And I think about a day later, I got a phone call from someone, and the phone call was from a guy in California. And he seemed like a pretty good guy. He didn't like I didn't get a sketchy vibe from him. It wasn't like, oh, I got a random string. Like, I mean, he was a random stranger, but he wasn't like, sketchy. He seemed pretty legit. So he called me and he starts to ask me questions. He asked me questions about what I was doing, how old I was, well, how much money I was looking to make. And then he shared with me that he was making a certain amount of money. I can't remember how much it was, but he was making a certain amount of money, and that he was going to show me how I was going to be able to do the same thing. And what I needed to do to get started was check out a website. So he directed me to another website with a business opportunity presentation on it. And I'm naming names, you know what I mean? I'm making this video like you're my friend, you know what I'm saying? It was for a company called Prepaid Legal. And I checked it out and I was like, wow, this looks pretty cool. I'm not going to do this right now, but this looks pretty cool, because I wasn't working a job, so I didn't even have any money to get started. Okay. So that summer, I go home, and I lived about 4 hours away from where I went to college. I lived in Queens, New York. My college was in Utica, New York. I was still in New York State, but I was far enough away so I can get the experience of going away to school. But I was 4 hours away from Queens. So I moved back home and I got a seasonal job with a New York City agency. It was the New York City Parks and Recreations Department. And I was working in the Bronx. And if you guys don't know where the Bronx is, it's one of the five boroughs in New York. So I was working in the Bronx, and on the first day of my job, I'm wrapping up at work, and my boss is like, Sharif, you seem like a smart kid. Do you want to make some extra money? And I'm like, absolutely. And she says, okay, tomorrow come to work, bring a change of clothes, bring a pair of dress slacks, bring a pair of shoes, and bring a shirt and tie. If you don't do that, don't ever ask me for anything. And I was just like, okay, all right, no problem. So the next day I showed up at work. I brought my change of clothes with me. And she takes me to Manhattan. And, she takes me to this hotel that's literally right across the street from Madison Square Garden. And it's on a Tuesday night. It's raining outside. And, the entire time that we're traveling to the hotel, I don't even know we're going to the hotel. I have no idea what I'm getting myself involved in. I just took her word. She asked me. I said yes. I brought my clothes. I didn't ask any questions. And she didn't tell me anything. So we get to the hotel and we go inside of the lobby of the hotel, and we're directed to one of the lecture halls in the hotel. And there's this long line of people outside, and half of the line is divided. Half of the line was for people that were connected to whatever she was taking me to, and the other half of the line were guests of the people that were connected, and we had to sign in. So I signed in. I got my name tag. The door, she escorts me in. We get a seat. I walk inside. It was like a big ass. It was a big ass room. Like, and the room was packed with people. Okay. So she walks me in, and this really sharp, this really sharp dressed guy comes up to her, gives her a hug, kiss on the cheek, says hello, blah blah blah, walks away. Okay. Maybe about 10 minutes after we get inside the room, there's what appears to be a presentation. So a presentation begins, and I look on the screen that was projecting the presentation, and the screen said prepaid legal. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this is like, you can't make this shit up. Like, you can't make this up, you know. And I immediately thought about that phone call from that guy in California a few months back, like a few months before this. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm probably meant to do something in this industry. I'm meant to do this because it, for me, there's just no way to explain this coincidence. So presentation starts. We're learning all about the business. You know, the sharp dressed guy comes. He comes up on stage. He starts doing his thing. He's talking about how he's making $50,000 a month. He starts bringing all these other people up. They're making 5 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand. They've all got pins. They got these fancy titles, and I'm just like mesmerized by what I see. Because for me, I saw the alternative to what I thought I was supposed to do with my life. I literally saw, wow, I don't have to work for 20 years. I can do this. So I got fired up. I jumped into the opportunity that night. I get home. I'm asked to make a list of 100 people in my life. I make the list. I'm given, I'm connected to an upline who's going to work with me to bring my friends and family into the business. And everyone, literally everyone that I spoke to told me no. Everyone. And it was a really discouraging experience. It was really discouraging. So I quit. But for some reason this like stayed in the back of my mind. It was like, what if this works? Like, what if I can get this thing to work? I don't know. So fast forward a year later, I call the same sponsor. She connects me to somebody else. I tell that person I want to get back in. They tell me they were just thinking about me. Now, I don't know if that was true, But they told me they were just thinking about me. So I'm like, okay, great. I'm supposed to do this. Make a list of my friends, call them up, same thing. Now at this point, I'm like, okay, this company sucks. No offense if you're watching this and you're down with prepaid legal and it's working for you, or you just got in, like this was my experience, this was my experience. Like, don't, like, I don't want you to think like it really is a cool company, and I actually know people that are actively promoting it, and more power to them. At the time, 2004, 2005, it wasn't something that worked for me. I'm not knocking the company. I'm just sharing my experience. All right, so I don't want you to think I'm trashing your company. But anyway, that's what happened. Like a year later, I reconnected with this dude, and I got the same results. So I left the company, and then I met somebody else in a different company. This company was called Tahitian Noni International, and I was just like, shit, man, different product, health, like healthy, whatever. I'm in. What do I got to do? And I noticed they told me to do the same exact thing that the people in prepaid legal told me to do, and I'm like, I just went to these people, and everyone told me no. Now I gotta go back. Oh, all right, fine. Maybe they'll be more receptive if they see this. So I go back to them. Same thing. We're not interested. This is a pyramid scheme. This isn't gonna work. You're being scammed. This is the dumbest thing ever. You're so naive. Why are you even doing this? It's a waste of your time. Why don't you just go get a better paying job? At the time, I had a decent pay. Actually had a pretty good paying job for where I was in my life at the time and what I had going on. I can't even lie. I had a good paying job, but it wasn't enough. This is what I wanted to do. So I went back and I talked to all my friends and family again, and everybody said, "Screw you, we're not doing this." And I was just like, "Oh my god." Okay. Left T Shinoni. Took a step back for a second and was like, maybe I shouldn't be in this industry. So I end up getting a different job, get a totally different job, meet someone else that was promoting another company. They were promoting Quick Start, jumped into that, got the same results. Are you seeing a pattern here? I was like insane. I was insane. I was doing the same, literally doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It was crazy. It was crazy. And here I am. I'm wondering what's wrong with me. Why can't I get this thing going? What the hell's like? What is this? This seems like a better fit. Like, it was just horrible. It was horrible. So I ended up getting a job at a insurance company around 2006. And around that time, I stumbled across a free PDF. And it was a PDF report. And I can't fully remember what the report was about, but I know it was directly linked to magnetic sponsoring. I think it may have been like a sample chapter of magnetic sponsoring or something. So I checked it out and I liked what I saw. It made sense to me. It made sense to me. And what really got me was the possibility of attracting people to me instead of me going after my friends and family. So 2 years after I got introduced to network marketing, I came across the concept of attraction marketing, and it absolutely changed my life forever. Forever. I will never be able to, like, I can never go back after I came across magnetic sponsoring. I can never go back. It was crazy. It was just like it was as if I was living as though the earth was flat, and I discovered for myself that the earth was round. There was no way to go back. So that's just how that worked. All right. So I hope you're enjoying my story so far. I'm going to create another video for you. I'm going to leave you right here, but keep on following the story because it gets better.